So have you got anything specifically, Melanie, that you'd like to talk about?
I would love to hear how your case is going, Mel.
It's done.
It's done?
Yeah. Carolyne's replied to my...
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't caught up with it, so I was just wondering how it went.
Yeah, no.
She resigned, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she resigned at the end of the meeting. So at the end...
She came to the meeting. I thought she was going to resign the moment you invited her.
Yeah, so you'd already said that that's what might happen, but I said I think she might, dig her heels in. But no, so we had, it was, 40-minute conversation, and at the end of it, she said she was going to resign on the 31st anyway. So I'm like, yeah.
She didn't want to be there anymore. She hated it. Like the way she was talking, she was working, 2 days a week anyway.
Yeah, so I did the acceptance. So I did get the letter in writing. I asked for it in writing. That came over on New Year's Eve. Wrote the acceptance, sent it through, and then Carolyne approved that, and I sent it out a couple of days ago. Yeah, so we're all done. Yeah, but yeah, quite interesting. She did admit after the tape was finished. She said, well, if it was me, I would be saying that this is gross misconduct. And she'd said all the way through, she said that's really unprofessional. She didn't admit to stealing anything, but the other comments and the other bits within that, she did say, that's really unprofessional. I shouldn't have said that, and I shouldn't be doing that. And so she'd admitted through. But off tape, she said, you've got to do what you've got to do. But if it was me, I'd be saying this was gross misconduct.
Lovely how they always say that stuff after you turn the recording off.
Yeah. But she did say on tape, she did say I was going to resign, aside from what's happened now, or what this conversation, aside from that, I was going to resign today anyway.
Sure,
and then we went through she said, so can I do it verbally? I just had an issue with the printer at home, so I couldn't bring it in today. But anyway, so she sent it through. It's all done.
Really? She can't text?
Or write it with a pen and paper?
I did say that.
Fine, it's done. And I'm glad you didn't have to go whistle. But
yeah, I did say on the recording, the last bit of the recording is, I said, well, I'll accept it. I said, no, it needs to be in writing. I can't accept it verbally. I said, you can email it over. I said, if you wanted to, I said, you can just pen and paper today.
Yes, here they are, pen, paper, off you go.
Yeah,
I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Well, why not? Anyway, it's done. So all done.
Cool,
brilliant. So I'm not sure there's much to talk about at this stage. The big thing coming is the Employment Law Act. The implications of that. I'm going to say the biggest one, the most immediate one, is the sick pay from April, that's going to change. That will come back in due course with that for everybody. But again, your payroll system should be automatically updating it. So when you put in somebody sick, it says this is therefore how much money they're entitled to. This should not be a manual calculation for anybody to do. So, but obviously, so as you know, when you're doing your budgets, if it's, I can't remember, it's 80% of their weekly rate if they're earning less than the lower earnings level. It's one of it starts getting into, again, the maternity calculations. It's the 15th week before the 6th week, before the 20th day, and you're like, oh, I'm losing the will to live. So it's the same thing with that's why you put it into payroll, and then it tells you. The other thing, again, with golf clubs, even proprietary golf clubs, is that the grey area around the responsibility for members' behaviour, even if they don't own it, is going to be third party for harassment, not just sexual harassment, any harassment. It's just we've had one this week about racial harassment. And from October, that is a legal responsibility that you can be sued for. So it's just making sure that anything that happens up until then, we absolutely go down, I'm going to say with a full force, absolutely, you cannot do this, you are out here, done, so that the message gets through to everybody before you can actually get sued for it. That's the thing. and that actually whistleblowing sexual harassment, raising the concerns about sexual harassment, will be treated as whistleblowing, protected under whistleblowing as well. I can't remember whether that's October or slightly earlier. I feel it's slightly earlier actually in the year, which means that if they raise it and they then they can then claim a tribunal, and you would have to pay them their salary until the case came to court, which could be easily 2 years. And even if it wasn't deemed to be whistleblowing, you would not get that money back. So this is, again, that it does seem to be that, and we don't know how this is going to work out in practice, but it does seem certainly that legally the information is there to make people take this seriously, and saying, oh, well, I was just saying something nice, or it was just banter, or I didn't mean it like that, is you can't do that anymore. So
can I ask, are there any guidelines at the moment on the third party implications? So if a member is rude to another member, or a member is rude, does that sit differently to a member being rude to
so no, this is employees. This is about you protecting your employees from third party harassment. There is no requirement. I'm happy with that. Well, I mean, I'm not saying there's no requirement, but not in what we do, member to member. Yeah,
I'm actually finalised the disciplinary today of a member to member one. So I did the disciplinary earlier this week. So I just wanted to make sure it's not them against them. It is the employees, and the member versus member comes under our rules and conduct of membership anyway. So okay, so that what I don't want to do is have to try and protect the members against other members, and that's our responsibility to be able to do that, because that's going to be an absolute nightmare.
It sounds like, a dystopian future. It sounds like the Hunger Games in every golf club. It's like, well, I'm not protecting them against each other. That's them sorting it out. If they want to kill each other, they just go and do that.
Let them go. But
the staff...
Yeah, there's a problem between your members, just call the police.
Yeah.
Don't try and deal with it. You have to deal with the employee problems.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's quite interesting, actually, because legally, obviously, employees have a lot more protection against harassment of any type. But the ones who really lawyer up and are a pain in the neck are the members who immediately start sending solicitors letters and threatening to sue you, which most employees, when they are in that situation, and we've had this so many times, they're just like, well, I don't really want to make a fuss, but yeah, it did happen, but I just want it to stop. Whereas the members with a lot less provocation are immediately like, I'm going to sue you and this is awful and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, thank you for playing.
And that's usually the guilty ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our volunteers, we've only got about 6 of them, they are protected as an employee. No.
It's a very
because they haven't got a contract with us. Okay.
Well, they're not paid. If they're not paid, they're not an employee. Okay. So, but they're members, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes. So they're covered by that. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay. There have been many issues.
Please tell me they're not all pretty girls in short skirts. Because they've got our problems.
I'm not sure you're allowed to say that.
We're just checking the demographic, but I feel, aren't they starters? Usually the volunteers are usually making sure everybody keeps up a speed of play and let's go. And
they're usually 50 plus retired golfers. I know.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I think the thing, and I am preaching absolutely to converted here, Mel, the only thing that I would say that has come up again and again in the last 2 weeks, because I was having to deal with some stuff between Christmas and New Year, is as soon as there's anything with employees, is to ring up or email us and say, this has happened, this is how I want to deal with it. Is that okay? And that the answer, obviously, with you, because you're always on here, is probably going to be, yeah, absolutely fine. It's just that I have one golf club that's come back to me, and there's an issue around calling somebody a name, which is not good name, which is banter. Okay. But then as we were talking about that and me saying, right, we need to do investigation meetings, turns out there was one of the chefs walked out on the 11th of December without authorization after blazing around with his colleague. But they didn't ring me on the 11th of December about that. And then also somebody was in an accident and escorted by the police to hospital, which usually means there's a concern about maybe drink driving. But nobody...
They've got head covers.
He said about the 5 minutes.
Oh, right, sorry. So it's then also saying, okay, well, we need to sort out what's happening there. Was that while they were going to from work? What's happening there? And then... that one of the chefs has said to the house manager that he's an alcoholic, but he doesn't drink at work, but he does need a drink to get to work. And I'm like, okay, and this is all before the sort of the 18th of December, and it only comes out as side issues when we're talking about the name calling. Oh yes, and the other thing is he can't talk to one of the witnesses because she broke her toe in the basement where the barrels are, even though she's not supposed to be in the basement where the barrels are. And actually, we don't think she broke it there. And I'm like, okay, but how long has she been off for? Well, 2 weeks. Okay, so have you reported it to Riddle as an accident at work? No. Well, because I don't think it is. No. You report it, and then we'll work out whether it is or it isn't. And you tell your insurance. All these things from trying to sort out the name calling, because somehow those things weren't important enough to ring. But even just one of them, like the storming out, we could have done a disciplinary. The guy would have been on a final written. I know he didn't want to lose his chef, but actually we needed to do it at the time. He now wants to circle back around and do a disciplinary process on that, but not this week, maybe in 2 weeks' time. And I'm like, no, let's just draw a line under it. Advisory note, don't walk out without authorization, end of, because it's a month ago. You can't. It's just pointless now.
And what's very frustrating is that same chef is the chef that needs a drink to come to work. So this problem could have been handled ages ago.
Yeah. And that is the point, actually. If you do have somebody who you suspect, or I'm going to say, actually, it's been that people, staff have come to us and said, this was in 2 separate golf clubs, actually, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I am on the bandwagon, but I just have been told I need to let you know. That's part of the recovery process, okay? You are allowed to do swab testing for alcohol. And what we did, this was actually for a head greenkeeper in a different club, was that we agreed with him that we would let him back because he's on, heavy machinery, but he would have to do a swab testing at the beginning and the end of every shift for 3 months. And if that was great, then we would do it on an intermittent basis for another 3 months. And then after that, we would decide what we're going to do. And we've dropped it. But he managed absolutely those 3 months, and the swab testing is peanuts. It's like £1.50 per swab, and we're not looking to dismiss on the basis of this, but you do have the health and safety responsibility to make sure that they are sober when dealing with heavy machinery. And it's interesting that talking to the new person who's got the alcoholic, he's like, well, I don't really want to lose my chef. Yes, but if he's drunk in the kitchen, what's the likelihood of an accident? And then you're going to be liable. I did point out corporate manslaughter might apply. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe I do need to take it more seriously. So, yeah. So I'm just saying, if you've got somebody, or if you think that there's people being drunk, that we can do the swab testing, because we're not aiming to immediately dismiss. We just want to see what's going on. And then we can see if there's any extenuating circumstances that they drank too much cough medicine. It's like, okay, sure. Yeah. So, okay. If there isn't anything else, I think we'll leave it for this week. We will be ramping up with all the interpretations now. The legal profession is waking up again on the Employment Rights Act that's now in force, and what's going to come in and what we need to make sure of. But I think that as a minimum, we need to make sure we are absolutely tracking any sickness absence and making sure it's being paid correctly. Because again, this club, it turns out, although it says SSP only, nobody's bothered to tell payroll that it's SSP only or that people are off sick. So everybody's been paid in full. It's just frustrating. So I'm not against paying people in full, but it's like, if that's not your policy, then yeah. So just making sure we have those sickness statistics, and so we can deal with it before we have to start paying people for those first 3 days. Okay, Otherwise, we'll see you here next week. Right, bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want a free peace of mind call with us to discuss your policies, handbook, and any burning staff issues in your business, click the link in the description below.